Are you ready for some hockey? I know, I knew you would be, because let's face it, if you live, breathe, die hockey, this is the show you've been waiting to come on. This is the show you've been waiting for, and we are back. And we are back in classic style. I have on my vintage Kurt McLean, rule number 1, Vancouver Canucks. What was that, 94 Cup Series with the Canucks against the Rangers, Richter and McLean. Great stuff, right? A lot of vintage shirts be coming out on this season, that's for sure. And it's great to be back with you. Finally, you'll get to have some amazing hockey coverage and not that dribble that comes out of the Nazi-run Tom McMillan PR office down at the Pens, and certainly not the Gary Bettman PR spin machine that comes out of all the league sites. I'll give you info that you won't find anywhere else because nobody else in town has the Strungenes to even bother reporting on it. It's great to be back with you for another season, and I'm going to devote this entire show, first off, to talking about the teams, the changes in the league, and give you my predictions for the season. Let me tell you right off the bat, these are all scientifically done. We have algorithms and all kind of equations that we put together to get, and you're going to hear things on this show that nobody else will say. But, you know, as always, as the years have shown, I'll be right. And we'll get all the festivities started right after this. Great intro for the show. Thanks to Dave Cable for all his efforts in putting that together. We're going to keep that one around for a while. I kind of like that. You know, all kind of people use all kind of different methods and formulas and styles and guru magic to try to pick out their winners and losers for the season, the preseason hype as to who can be counted on to be a winner and who can be counted on. There have been so many things that have happened so far in the league that wow, this is going to be one wildly unpredictable season. They're already talking about changing goaltender pads again. Not this year, of course, but they're going to go in for next year. And believe me, if they do that, the return of the stand-up goalie is just right around the corner, because that's a different topic altogether. Let's talk a little bit about the teams. Now, when I put these teams together and I shuffle out through their opening day rosters, there's a formula we use to try to figure out who's going to be strong, who's going to be weak. These formulas have served us well in the past. It's based on a power system that ranks from 2 to 8. That's it. You can't go any higher than that. And based on that system, we're able to tell where we expect some of the teams to fall into, who we expect to be real strong contenders, and who we expect not to be strong contenders. Now, I've got to tell you right off the bat that with this year, there were so many things happening just within the first week of league play that some of these rankings have to have a little caveat next to it, and I'll explain why on today's show as we get a little further down in the... Let's start with the Eastern Conference, because after all, that's where the Pens are calling home. But instead, before we go into the Metro Division, let's start with the Atlantic Division, and we have some beautiful graphics to run up for you here. Let's start with the Atlantic Division first, and according to our rankings, here are the teams in order of what we feel are going to be their power structure. You got to feel bad for good old Dan Bylsma. His Buffalo Sabres are coming in on the very last spot. That's a 4 rating, and to be honest with you, there aren't too many teams that score that low on the power ranking. Dan's got some problems this year. Number 1, you're going to see our rankings as the Florida Panthers, and that's going to have a lot of people scratching their heads. Take a look at what the Panthers did last year. I think they ended up the season with 105 points. That's pretty amazing for the Panthers. And during the offseason, they made changes which only enhanced the team. So, with that said, the Florida Panthers look like our top team in the Atlantic Division, and on their heels are the Montreal Canadiens and the Tampa Bay Lightning. I should probably tell you that if you've been watching this show or on the Facebook page, what have you, You know I am not a big fan of the Montreal Canadiens. I just can't stand that team. But they are an amazing team. And the only thing that really hurt them last year was the fact that Carey Price went down. Now, I know he started this year off again on a bad spin. They claim it's the flu and that he was sick. There are some rumors going around that it wasn't quite the flu, but he's due back, and once he's back, they will be a strong team. Following after the Canadiens and the Lightning, our next power teams are the Detroit Red Wings and the Toronto Maple Leafs. They, for years and years, people and fans have been saying, oh, this is the Leafs year, this is their resurgence year. This actually might really be it. They really look strong. They're having good, and everybody knows about Williams' first start with the 4 goals and all that. But that aside, they do look like they have a strong team. Contenders possibly, but real weak outings here are my favorite Boston Bruins, the Ottawa Senators, and of course the Buffalo Sabres. They're really outside shots right now, and unless something drastic happens to those teams, they may have a hard time fitting into the playoff picture. Okay, that's how that stuff works there. Now, let me switch to the Metro Division, where our good old Pittsburgh Penguins hang in there. Boy, this is going to cause a lot of you to fall out of your seats. Number 1 are the Carolina Hurricanes. Now, if you look at that and you say, my God, he's crazy. They haven't been able. No, they haven't. But as we're taping this show, I should point out that the Hurricanes are undefeated. I believe they're 4-0 so far this year. And this is just a little indication of what our equations put together and said that this could be a very surprise team. Please note there are some differences here. While the Florida Panthers scored the highest you can score in 8, there's nobody in the Metro Division that scores that way. The Carolina Hurricanes are in at a 7. And then right behind them is a hodgepodge of teams, which includes the New York Rangers, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the Washington Capitals, and the Philadelphia Flyers. Yes, I know, it pains me to say that too, that the Flyers actually have a good chance this year. But all of those teams come in at a 6, which means that in the Metro Division, there's a big clump of teams there that can vie. Now, the teams that come in next, the Devils, the Blue Jackets, and the New York Islanders, they're all 5 rankings, which means that just with a little tweaking during the season, or possibly injuries to some of the other teams, they still have a chance. The Metro Division is actually shaping up as one of the strongest divisions in the league this year. Certainly, it will be a stronger division in the Eastern Conference than the Atlantic Division will. Now, here's our little caveat, the first of our 2 caveats, and that is where the Pittsburgh Penguins are lying. Originally, the Penguins received their 6th rating based on the fact that they would be dealing with the goaltending tandem of Matt Murray and Marc-Andre Fleury. Now, since we put all these statistics and things together, there have been some changes and some rumors going around the entire buzz media in the Pens locker room and what have you. Fleury's days with the Pens may be numbered. Okay, they just signed Matt Murray to a multi-year contract deal. It looks like the young man's going to be around for a while. He's still nursing a broken thumb. But, and this ties over to our other caveat in the Western Conference, as all you hockey fans know, the Los Angeles Kings are in dire straits. Jonathan Quick went down in the first game of the season, and it looks like he's out for at least 3 months. My sources are saying it could be 4 months before he comes back. Look, the way the Western Conference is set up, you can't afford to have your top goalie sit out for that long of a time and expect to get back into the playoff picture. It's not going to happen. The Western Conference is just too competitive. So, this brings us to our second point. There were rumors circulating around, and I heard these just about a day or 2 before we taped this show, that Marc-Andre Fleury may find himself in a Los Angeles Kings uniform rather quickly. And in return, the Pens would get Dustin Brown and a draft pick. Now, that's the rumor that's going around the buzz, that they would go with, Matt Murphy as the starter. And they pulled in Conlon from the Montreal Canadiens, who is not a starting goaltender, but certainly can serve as a backup. So this makes Fleury somewhat expendable. His contract is almost dead even with that of Dustin Brown. The Kings are looking to move Dustin Brown, and that could be a one-on-one swap with the draft pick thrown in. Dustin Brown, I think, would fit in very nicely with the Pittsburgh Penguins' style of play and their system. This is the route. Now, by the time you're watching this show, this deal might be a done deal, and I might be giving you, old news, or it might be a deal that's already been kiboshed and flushed out the window. I have also heard rumors that the LA Kings, who are kind of in a desperate spot, have also contacted the Florida Panthers and trying to make a goalie swap down there as well. Possibly, but that would definitely change Florida's power rankings as the number one team in the Atlantic Division if that should happen. So that's why I say there are some changes just within the first week of play that can cause this thing to shift in any kind of manner, in any kind of way. It's going to be an interesting season if things pick up. Let me explain to you a little bit about what's going on with the Kings. Everybody in the league knows the Kings are hurting. You don't lose a netminder with the quality of Jonathan Quick and then expect to have any kind of, second season hopes at all. So, other teams who they are, the Kings are knocking on the door saying, hello, can we take a look at your roster? They know the Kings are in a desperate position, and as such, when, you need something, the price goes up and teams try to bargain a whole lot more. And I guess the Pens have a pretty good reputation for being kind of stingy and trying to get the most out of their trades. Just look at some of the deals that have gone down in the past that seem to, this is really going to work, and then it goes away and people go elsewhere. So it'll be kind of interesting. Everyone knows the Kings are in panic mode, and if they are able to make a deal, it may be a little bit pricier than what they actually want to spend. So there's our recap of the Eastern Conference. You take a look at the Atlantic Division and at the Metro Division, and now I'll tell you how that shapes up for the playoffs. But first we got to do the Western Conference, and we will do that right after this.
One of the things we do at BPTV is encourage our producers to film on location. Not only does shooting on location give our producers the opportunity to take advantage of their subject matter, filming in different locations gives each program its own distinct flavor. This also helps anyone who's flipping through the channels avoid confusion when they turn on BPTV. With around 500 programs produced at BPTV each year, the last thing we want people to think is that we're only broadcasting one program. So, you need to come into BPTV to pitch your TV show, but in terms of where you actually end up taping your show, the sky's the limit.
Back with you here on In the Crease, and already just in that first segment, we've had people emailing and calling and getting all kind of, because they want to put in their 2 cents. Hey, the best way to do that is just get on the In the Crease Facebook page. Dave will run the URL for you down below here. It's open to the public. You can sign on and join in as a member, and then as soon as I post something, bang, it'll be up there. We have a lot of fun on there. Some jokes and what have you, but some serious news coverage of hockey that you're just not going to get in this town, because for some strange reason, all of the hockey reporters in this town seem to be frustrated baseball reporters. They all want to cover baseball, and they get thrown on to hockey. We've been doing this show since 1988. It was the first sports talk show devoted strictly to hockey in the tri-state area. It continues to be the best. Often duplicated, often imitated, never duplicated. There it is. Okay. All righty. Let's move on to the Western Conference and talk about our rankings for these teams here. The Central Division in the Western Conference, boy, if you take a look at this, the only team that looks a little bit shaky as far as power rankings go is the Winnipeg Jets. And that's not necessarily saying something bad. Dallas Stars, the Minnesota Wild come in at number 1 and 2 respectively in the Central Division, and then right on their heels is everybody else, the Chicago Blackhawks, the Colorado Avalanche, Nashville Predators, and St. Louis Blues. Folks, in the Western Conference, this is a strong division. Any one of these teams can shift, and any one of these teams can be a contender. The only one right now that looks like it might be a little shaky are the Winnipeg Jets. If we shift and go into the Pacific Division and take a look at this, this division is absolutely amazing. There are two teams that stand out, the LA Kings and the Vancouver Canucks. You can see both of them earn 7s out of our power rating, which goes from 2 to 8. Everybody else has a 6. So as far as parity is concerned, the entire Pacific Division is in play. There isn't anybody that we can cross out of that division yet. Now, here comes our caveat again. Remember in the first part of the show, I told you about the LA Kings situation. When these power rankings were made, it was before Jonathan Quick went down, because we actually put the rosters together before the opening face-off and the opening day of the season. And Jonathan Quick figured in on giving the LA Kings a 7. Okay? He's out. He's out for 4 months. That's at least half the season. All right? That changes drastically. If Quick doesn't come back, or if the Kings are unable to swing a blockbuster deal, bringing in one of the top quality netminders to kind of fill in his shoes, the Kings are done. Okay? Their power ranking drops down to a 3. It's that big of a swing. Okay? So just to let you know, the Kings are up there number 1 now, pardon me, and looking good, but it depended a lot on Jonathan Quick. He means that much to that team. And a lot of you are going to scratch your head. And a lot of you are going to say, Vancouver? They had massive problems last year. How did they get so high? They made some nice deals in the offseason. They were quiet about it. No really big names swinging back and forth, but they got rid of some people that they didn't need, and they brought in some people that fit nicely into their system, and they made a big jump. Vancouver is going to be the team that's going to cause all the rest of those teams a little bit of heartache and a little bit of problems. Even though the Edmonton Oilers ranked a 6, that's the highest they've ever ranked in, I think since the Paul Coffey days. So that should be interesting as well. There's your power, and it shouldn't be any big surprise because I've been saying it for years. The Western Conference is still the stronger conference. I know the Pens won the Cup. The Western Conference has more parity, and those teams are all equally matched. You can't pick out a team like you can in the East and say, yeah, they're going to be good, and no, they're not going to be good. Those teams are all well balanced. Let's take a look at how it looks currently for the playoffs using our patented system. In the Eastern Conference, the top 3 teams to beat are the Florida Panthers, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Tampa Bay Lightning. Those are your biggest and strongest competitors. Those are the 3 teams we look for, and probably your top teams to get into the conference finals. Here's a little graphic showing you the rest and how they stack up. Yeah, the Pens are in there, but so are a lot of their heavy competition like the Capitals, Rangers, all in there. And that would be the teams that would make up your playoffs over in the Eastern Conference. If we switch graphics now and we go over to the Western Conference, you'll see we got the LA Kings and the Vancouver Canucks as the 1 and 2 team to get into the conference finals. Again, there's a caveat there, and that caveat has to deal with the LA Kings. All right? Believe me, if they try to go 3 to 4 months without Jonathan Quick, there's no chance in hell they're going to be anywhere near that top. If they are able to pull off the big trade, even if Fleury goes with them, their rankings will dip a little bit, but they'll still be a quality team. And then you can see all the other teams that line up. Everybody's in there because you can't really throw out any team. There's no weak team there. Every team has an equal shot to get into the playoffs. So that's how it looks according to our power rankings for this year. Those are the teams we feel you should keep an eye on. And there are some surprises in there. Vancouver Canucks, certainly one. Carolina Hurricanes, certainly another one. But I think you'll see every year we've done this, we've been spot on pretty much. batting pretty good, well over 500, well over 75%. So I think we're going to be doing pretty good with this too. Now, let me explain how these power rankings will work this season. We will redo these power rankings once again after the trading deadline. So the first show that we do after the trading deadline, we'll reorganize these teams. I expect to see some pretty big moves this year, especially at the trading deadline, and I think this structure will change drastically. So we'll do that again, and then once we've done that, since the trading deadline is over, and the only thing teams will have to worry about at that point, of course, is serious injury, then we'll give you our predictions for the Cup and the playoffs and all that good kind of stuff. So there you have it. Would you like to know or say something about it? Again, let me point out that you can do that on the official In the Crease Facebook page. Here's that URL once again. You can get on there and post a little thing about in fact, I'm even going to post a link up to this show, and you'll be able to make comments right under the show. Give your opinion on what you think, how our power rankings worked and all that good kind of stuff. It'll be nice. You know, for those of you that have watched this show for, the years, the decades that it has been on, you know that for a good amount of that time, I had a co-host, Bob Nelson, who always had his thumb on the pulse of the local hockey system and provided some very interesting color commentary to the subjects that we brought up on the show. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond both of our control, Bob is no longer able to be on the show with me, and that's kind of sad in a way. I kind of like having a cohort or a co-sponsor of crime, so to speak. So what I am doing, what I would like to do is I would like to open up the seat next to me for this show, for this season, to any current college student who is studying sports broadcasting as an internship. Now, we've done an internship before. In fact, I did an internship last on Outtakes with Fiore, the movie review show, and the young gentleman who worked with me during that time is now, he's a film critic. I see him at all the screenings. He's writing for a host of online sites and what have you, and I think things have worked out well for him. I'd like to do something like that here. So the qualifications are this. First off, obviously you have to be interested in hockey. We're not covering any other sport on this show but hockey. Secondly, I've got to be able to talk to your school so that you can earn school credits. That's big and that's viable. I'll be more than happy to, it'll be more than you just sitting on the show. I will work with you. I will show you how to be a broadcaster in the truest sense of the word, and not just, some bimbo like they're hiring on the NHL network where they're branding things, say, I have beautiful red hair. Nobody cares. We want to talk hockey here. So if you know hockey, you like hockey, and I can get you school credit for it, then we're good. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to send a letter of interest and your resume, and send it to dcable@bethelpark.net. That's dcable@bethelpark.net. And of course, Dave is the fellow who puts these shows together for me, makes all these fine graphics, and basically runs the TV studio. So once he gets the information, he'll forward it to me. We'll take a look at it, and I'll give you a call. Letter of interest, your current resume, and I got to be able to talk to your school so that you can get school credit. Give you all the details. Send it. dcable@bethelpark.net. It'd be nice to have you come along. And, I'm going to say this right now because I know it's true, because I've done it for over 3 decades. What I teach you about this business will be a lot better than what you're currently getting in school. Guaranteed. All right. Hey, that's going to wrap us up. We got to get out of here for the first edition. There's our power rankings. Be sure to check us out on Facebook. And until the next time, remember, when it comes to hockey, if you're in the game, you're in the crease.